Okay, now that I actually know what I want to say, I wrote a whole script and it's a long one, so I hope you're prepared to stare at my dumb transgender, transsexual, whatever you want to say, face for quite a while because I made a really long one. Just gonna take a Theo. You don't realize how thirsty you are until you take that first sip. Alright. So, I've got a bit of a beef. I've got a bit of an issue. YouTube is recommending me these. I love my people. I'll never say anything bad about my people. But people are recommending me the. Let's say the Trandis Owens type. The Trandrew Tate type. The people who seem to not like being transgender, seem to not have a good time being themselves and kind of like crabs in a bucket want to drag all of us down with them. So I've got a few things to say, and I'm going to say my piece because I've been hearing these arguments and I think they come from a place of ignorance, and it's kind of a malignant idea, and I want to purge the community of these malignant ideas because I think that they don't serve us, they don't serve our community, and it would be better if we did more productive things for our community than drag each other down like a bucket full of crabs. So I've been hearing a certain kind of trans person make the argument that transgender folks must assimilate into cisnormative society in order to achieve validity in their gender. You're not who you say you are until cis people agree that you are who you say you are. So this argument often excludes non-binary trans identities that don't have a niche carved out for them in cisnormative society in America. I'll touch on that in a minute. We're just going to put a pin in that. For right now, we're just going to assume that transgender women and transgender men are the two categories of transgender people, non-binary people. I'm very sorry. I promise there's stuff in here for you. Just hold on. So let's say, for the sake of argument and humor the position for now, that this is the only way to achieve one's desired gender, and pretend for a moment that trans people fall into one of two categories, that is transgender men and transgender women. And the argument is that they are only valid once they meet a cisgender standard of manhood or womanhood. That dog don't hunt. I'm about to tell you why. So trans people, as we've existed throughout history, tend to occupy one of two roles in society: stealth, or a passing trans person who is able to move through cisgender spaces undetected by cisgender people. Basically, that'd be like usually me when I clock into work. Hey, how you doing? And then people don't assume anything. I just do their service and move on to the next service as a service professional. That's it. Really, that's it. And you tend to not face as much discrimination or harassment because people don't know to treat you no different. And for the people that works for, that's great, right? And then we have visible transgender or gender variant people. So there have been cultures that actually carve out spaces for third genders or other genders or intersex people. There's I really hope I'm not butchering this, the Hydras of Indian culture. There's also two-spirit peoples of like Native American cultures. Those are just two examples I'm not very educated on. Oh, my girlfriend, she cooked me dinner. Look at that. I know you're jealous. She's perfect. You can't have none. Ah, that was delicious. Alright, where am I? Where was I? Alright. For time's sake, let's just stick to America because that's what the majority of my audience is going to be familiar with, and it's what I'm most comfortable talking about because I know a little bit about American history. And America has a long history of denigrating anyone outside of the cisnormative heterosexual comfort zone of the average land-owning elite white man. The only people that the country considered people at the time that the country was founded. People outside of the dominant racial group for a long time in America weren't even considered people. They didn't have the dignity of being men or women, cisgender or not. So if we're going to examine assimilating into a cisnormative society, we should probably examine the beauty standards and standards for masculinity and femininity of that society and whether or not it's something we necessarily want to assimilate into. But that's just me. And I think it would be fair to say that, though we've made huge strides to change that, we still live in an exclusionary society that doesn't give respect or decency easily to people who do not assimilate. I can see why the argument that your gender's validity is dependent on the approval of cis folks may be appealing to some pessimist who has no faith in our society to grow. The problem is, I'm an optimist. I believe in our ability to grow even as I've seen America regress so fast. But the thing is, if things can get this bad this fast, then we have the power to change it just as fast. And how awesome would that be? We can have a society where we all belong, where everybody has a place, where we don't have to exclude people. I don't think we're doing ourselves any favors by giving cis people the ability to bestow or revoke our genders, which is essentially what the assimilationist argument does. Like, it makes cisgender society the arbiters of gender, and makes us a guest in cisgender society. A stealth trans person's gender becomes only as good as their costume when we allow others to define us. We know us. I don't know about you, but I'm the only person living inside my head. I am my own. I'm mine. Of course, looking more manly feels pretty good, right? It feels right. But being treated like a man isn't the same thing as being a man. Being treated like a man isn't what made me a man. There were other factors, and I could make a positive masculinity video. I've been meaning to. It's a topic that's very nuanced, and I really want to give it the respect that it deserves. I don't think trans men should have to be virtuosos of manhood to be a man. No one's asking that of our cisgender counterparts. No one is asking cisgender men to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in order to be considered a man, to be given the decency of their own gender. Like, no one's asking cisgender men to perform in the same way. And my gender isn't the performance of it. Like, I could put on a mini skirt and high heels right now, and a little tube top, and I would still be a man. Because this is clothing. Did you know that until, I want to say until like the mid 18th to 20th century, right? We used to dress all children the same. They were all dressed in dresses. And pink was a manly color, while blue was a softer, more feminine color. Oh, how the turns tabled. And really, if it's all up to the norms of that time, right? How much of gender is drag? How much of your gender is drag? And when we leave it up to fellas who can't decide if washing between your butt cheeks is gay, I think we're doing ourselves a major disservice. Those people should not be the ones validating our genders. I've met grown men who wouldn't buy themselves a yellow shirt because the color's too bright and people might think they're gay. This is insanity. I'm not saying gender signifiers can't be used in the traditional way, but the constant performance is what I assumed we were all trying to get away from. Like, aren't we trying to be ourselves? Aren't we trying to achieve authenticity within ourselves? Aren't we trying to reach a point where we're comfortable in our own skin? Or are we trying to just be cis men, but for some reason more masculine than the majority of cis men? And there are those of us, transmasculine and transfeminine alike, who will never pass as cisgender. It's an unfortunate fact of life that not everyone is blessed with the jawline of the Giga Chad or the smooth face of a newborn baby. HRT is a miracle drug. Don't get me wrong, it saved my life. But not everything can be overcome with hormones. So if our gender is a social game, and we only achieve it through assimilation, there are trans people physically barred from their own gender? Does that make sense to you? Because that don't make no sense to me. Like, if you're a person, an autonomous adult, and you belong to yourself, right? I mean, all people belong to themselves, right? We can agree on that. So, you know who you are, right? It doesn't make any sense to me that you're only yourself when you can prove you're yourself. Does that make sense? Because that's just drag. That's just drag. I'm not trying to be down on drag at all. It's an art form. It's just, you know, not the same thing as living as your gender. Different things. So aside from non-passing binary trans people, and all non-binary people, there's one group excluded from assimilation into gender groups, cis and trans alike, that I would be remiss if I didn't mention. I'm gonna piss off a lot of people with this one. Autistics. I know. How dare some folks have more than one thing going on at once? Can't you just have one thing going on? It's so annoying for me on the outside having to contend with you being trans and also autistic. I know folks hate when neurodivergence is brought up in discussions about gender, but autistic trans people exist. That is a fact you're not going to get away from. Employed autistics, like myself, already use up all of our energy masking our autism in order to remain employed. And for neurodivergent folks, it isn't always an option to assimilate. Like, don't ask me to assimilate. I wasn't socialized female, okay? I'm autistic. I wasn't socialized at all, let alone as a cis man. I'm not capable of it, so I will not do it. I'm gonna come off as weird. Studies show that neurotypicals, like, perceive autistic traits in people within seconds of meeting them. A snapshot judgment. And they don't know what it is. They don't know what they're seeing. They just know there's something a little off. Yeah, that guy's a little weird, isn't he? A little weird, isn't he? A little weird. What a weird fella. Why does he talk about bugs so much? Now, I could and have tried to mask in the past to, you know, present as neurotypical. But that's a lot of energy to keep up day after day after day. And, you know, autism is a disability, so eventually you run into a point where you burn yourself out trying and agonizing, because you'll never do it. You'll never actually perform neurotypicality. You're not going to all of a sudden behave as though you don't have a disability. You're going to behave a little bit weird, because autistics to other folks are weird. And I did for years tried to mask my autism with some hope that I wouldn't receive the same suspicion and contempt that I always do, because, like, I'm anxious too. because I've been rejected over and over again for being autistic. So it's the combination shifty and weird, which isn't helping. But I've learned over the years that the less stressed you are, the better it tends to work out. Like if I try and hide the weird, I'll just look shifty. So I embrace the weird. I info dump about arthropods. I explain the differences in cockroach species. I cannot stop myself when people say things like, oh, the daddy longleg is the most venomous spider on the planet. How many segments does its body have? A one? It has one? Does it have spinnerets at the tail end? No. It's not a spider, and it's not dangerous. That's an old wives' tale. Anyway, enough of my bug autism. I let myself be me. I like me. Even if I'm weird to other people. That just means that the people I have in my life aren't shallow. They're in my life because they're able to overlook stuff like that. Or, better yet, they like me for it. They're like, wow, Al, you're such a cool guy. Al's a nickname. They're like, wow, Arthur, you're such a cool guy. You've got so many interests, and you're so passionate about them. On purpose, be passionate about your interests. Being nonchalant is lame, actually. Try life maxing. See, I don't want assimilation. I want accommodation. I want there to be spaces for trans men who pass, for trans men who don't pass, for trans women who pass, for trans women who don't pass, for trans guys that body build and are really masculine, and for trans men that get press-on nails at the salon. Like, I want trans women to exist unharassed regardless of if they've shaved their face that day. I don't want us to have to choose between authenticity and respect. I want non-binary folks to have a seat at the table with everyone else. Can we stop acting like non-binary folks don't exist? Because, like, they're here. We're not going to get rid of non-binary folks. Like, you don't have to understand someone to respect them. And assimilation is fine if that's your goal. But everyone shouldn't have to wear a drag version of themselves just to be seen. That thinking is small, minuscule. Think bigger. We could be doing more. We could be leaving space for more people. We could be advocating for more freedom in gender expression, not less. We can do better than that. I think we're better than that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my little rant. This one wasn't about art this time, and it wasn't about AI. It was about some weird stuff that YouTube has been feeding me because YouTube has found out that I'm trans, and it hides me under the stairs, but it wants to show me Trandrew Tate every other day. Weird. Weird. Anyway, I appreciate y'all, and I love y'all, and don't listen to these people. Just don't. You know who you are. That's why you're here. You know who you are. And you've had to fight for your space in your life. Like, you've had to fight for your space in society. I'm sure you've had to fight for everything you've got. I know it doesn't come easy. I know the kind of struggles that our community faces. I know. It's all the more difficult when you have somebody telling you that you, like, filling your head with all these anxieties that you don't have to have. If you're going for the most authentic version of yourself, that's what you should do. As long as you have love in your life, like people in your life that are supportive, that really care for you, and you're true to yourself, right? If you've got those two ingredients, That's a life well made. Anyway, stay true to yourself, engage in those hobbies, do that thing that when you go to sleep at night, you're thinking about how you can't wait to do it again in the morning. Do that thing, and do it as well as you can. I love y'all.
Hey y'all, this has been I Dream of Entropy. I really appreciate you for watching this video all the way through. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, let me know what you think. I think I'm getting better and better at this, and I appreciate everyone who's along for the ride, even if YouTube is hiding my content. But hey, that's how it is on all social media for me. I'm kind of used to it, and I really appreciate the little group that I've made over the years, so love y'all.